All right, I'm going to throw in one little last video here. I feel like I could finish this off a little more interestingly. So in other words, I'm going to flip it over. That's going to be my top. But what about putting some feet in it? What the heck, right? So I always like to save my scraps. When I'm working on any project, I always save my scraps. Even when I think, oh, there's no way I'm going to use these, I always end up using them, or wish I had not thrown something out. Take a ruler here. It's about 1.25 inches wide. I'm just going to cut a strip out of it, like so. Then I'm going to cut another strip that's about half that width. So if this one is 1.25 inches, I'm going to cut another one that's about 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to place it, whereas I place it this way, I'm now going to place it across like this. And I'm going to cut out, basically I'm cutting out some squares. You know, it's very simple. I hate measuring things. So I like to just eyeball things. So I got 2 little squares. And I'm going to take that narrower strip and cut out 2 squares out of that as well. And then I'm going to score and slip these together. Now, the top of the box, or the part of the box you're seeing here, is the bottom. I'm going to score and slip this little square on top of the bigger square, as you can see, like that. I'll do the same with this other one. Like that. And then I'm going to cut these diagonally. So in other words, I'm going to cut them like that. That one and that one. Now what I had was 2 pieces, now I have 4. I'm going to take these pieces and score and slip them onto the bottom of the box. Like so. There we go. And these are going to be my feet. Now your box could be whimsical. It could be you're making it for something, or you're just making it for this class. It could be for that too. But think about how you might want it to function, and how you want it to function might determine its shape and its size. If you're going to put your jewelry in something, you could make it look like a brick, for example. So someone comes in, they say, oh, that's a brick. There couldn't be anything valuable in there. So there we go. There's my feet. Again, that's how the lid fits in place. I want your lid to fit in place. It shouldn't slide around on top. And then I can make a handle. So I could just take scraps again. And handle could look like that. It could be kind of a funky looking handle, right? It could be like a strap handle like this. I could put a handle on like this, so it's more like a little strap on top. I like that idea. Let's go with that. So I got this piece sitting here. I'll score and slip the ends on it. That's why I always save my scraps, because you'd be surprised how often a scrap can be inspiring, interesting. It's something you didn't plan on, but that just makes it all the more interesting. All right, there we go. I like that handle. Maybe I'll bring it down just a little bit. The other thing that's going to happen is you're working on pieces. You're going to start developing what I call the artist's eye, which is your eye for looking at things and seeing what's working and what's not visually. I think that's important. But that's just something that comes with practice, like anything else. There we go. There's my handle. All right, a little rough around the edges, but when it gets dry, I can take a wet sponge and wipe all this down and clean it up. In other words, all these little pieces I have all over the box, if I try to get them off now, I'll mess the box up. So when this is dry, I take a sponge, or I can just brush them off. So I'm not worried about them right now. There's little bits of clay that come along as a result of cutting something. Those will disappear, or a lot easier to get rid of when my piece becomes bone dry. Right now the piece is becoming leather hard. Leather hard is like a piece of cardboard. Your clay is first plastic when you first work with it. It's nice and stretchy. Then it gets to be what we call leather hard, like a piece of cardboard. If you pinch it, it's still flexible, but it's stiff. And then from leather hard, it goes to bone dry. And when something's bone dry, that's when you can fire it. And when it's bone dry, when it's leather hard, you can carve into your pieces. If you try to carve into them when they're plastic, you'll have a lot of little bits of clay sticking to the piece. Leather hard, carve into it. It's still easy to carve. And all those little pieces, if they don't flake off when you carve into it, you can get them off later. And when it's bone dry, you can take a wet or damp sponge or a brush and even clean up the edges even more. Okay, so there you go. Our project, making a slab box. And, we'll see how that goes. I'll be seeing your results hopefully eventually. Thank you.